You will be divided into groups and rotate through training stations. When you hear your number called, follow the coach. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Rehearsal, please.
Every now and then a story comes along that you feel like it's sort of, in terms of, you know, like a story or a movie, is a little bit almost too good to be true.
These young men had essentially no rowing experience to get where they wound up winning the Olympics.
Congratulations. You've earned yourselves the right to compete for the University of Washington in the JV boat. Enjoy the moment. It's only going to get harder. From this point on, it's not going to be a question of whether you will hurt or how much you will hurt. It will be a question of what you will do and how you will do it when the pain gets a hold of you.
The whole generation of Americans sort of fixated on Seabiscuit because that horse represented them in many ways. I think these 9 young men in the boat, in a very similar way, galvanized the attention of the nation.
The first thing we did when we cast the actors was we said, you know, if you're not athletic, then we're going to have to let you go. And we don't want to do that. So, you know, let's have an honest discussion of whether or not you guys can do that.
Name?
Joe Rance.
Joe. You ever crewed before?
Huh?
Row. You ever rowed before?
No. How much does the job pay when you're on team?
Go pick up your gear over there.
Callum's athletic, and he's a really wonderful actor. And he's kind of always been, for the last few years, been kind of around the edges of stardom in a way, around the edges of having something really pop for him. And it felt like this felt right for him.
Callum is just a ray of sunshine. He's just such a good guy. And he's also really diligent. He's so diligent and such a leader.
February the 1st was our first day of training for rowing, and we were awful, and none of us knew what we were doing, to the point where now we push ourselves and push each other to drive the rate up and to go as fast as we can.
We'll go for a run, now, go! Get out of here.
Having such a wonderful actor in Joel there made a big difference. You know, Joel comes to the party with a lot of gravitas already and a lot of class. And so he didn't have to do much to make us as an audience trust him and want to fight for him.
He makes Ulbrichtson really human, you know. It's a lot of the stuff that, you know, it's giving instructions or giving orders to the boys or setting out the rules, but he makes them so genuine. You live in that moment.
They're all legacies. And we're not. Not yet. Row for your country. Row for each other. Row for the moment. Put everything that's stacked against you in the back seat. Now, we're not likely to be back here again.
We had to find the right tools. So we did a couple of weeks of testing where we put cranes on boats, jib arms, and we tested with drones, we tested with underwater cameras, and put together a package which we thought would be most suitable.
Try running through your swimming pool. Everything is just slower. So, you know, you can't just say, okay, well, let's line up 8 boats across with 8 guys, 9 guys in each of them, and start the race, because there's a current, so the boats all start moving around and they're not in straight lines.
My grandparents taught me a lot about the Depression because they were Depression-era kids, teens, and so it was a part of my life all the time. So I had a sense, but to really dive in and look and see, you know, books and internet.
Nearing the half mark, the California boat still holding a 4-seat advantage with 1 mile to go.
Connecting with the University of Washington, they were incredibly helpful in their research and giving us anything we needed, and so supportive of the film. And so there's a lot out there. And then, you know, you do a broad overall scope to see what's happening in 1936, 34, 35, 36, and what's the world look like.
Rowing at the turn of the last century, particularly in the 1920s, was the #1 watched sport, meaning attended sport in the United States. So there were 100,000 people at these things. So it was a very big. So it has been a very big sport, and it still is a big sport. But you know, it's not. It hasn't been. It's not as big as football and baseball and basketball and all that now.
Singles, doubles, fours. They haven't lost a race yet.
We had a few photos. They're only prints this big to work from, and the architect's drawings. But we knew the basic measurements, and we didn't have premises long enough to build it in one piece. The shop we had was 45 feet long, and the 8 was 61 feet. So we built 5 seats, 5/8 of the boat on one stocks, and then next to that we had another stocks, which we built the other 3 seats on, and it all bolts together.
Everything was authentic in terms of what the equipment these guys were using. They have these little wooden seats and these little plastic wheels, and so there was nothing state of the art for them that they could cheat and look better.
My grandfather would let me help oil the shells he built. Most hate it because of the smell. I catch the scent of whale oil and immediately hear his voice telling me to keep putting it on. I can see my freckles in the reflection.
Right, something you look up and you see him like this, and it's just you that recognize. He doesn't recognize you.
Darling, wherever that camera is. Guys, you come walking forward now. On a good pace.
I saw Bruce get tempted with that.
Yeah. Down here too, and that was really good. And down.
And then when he takes his hand and grabs the cup.
I'm always impressed by actors that make films, and particularly actors that make good films, and that have a track record of making good. And George has made a handful of movies, you know, a good handful.
He's really a visual filmmaker, and I think maybe that's one of the things people overlook, because he knows where the camera is, what it does, and he's very precise in keeping to a style, and he's not like, you know, fishing around. He knows what he wants, and he's very quick in deciding.
George is the best. I mean, he's so great. And he's so fun. He loves to have fun, and he shows up with so much energy.
He talked about it in personal terms. He grew up quite poor in Kentucky, and so that helped him identify with this ragtag bunch of kids that are at the heart of the story of the boys in the boat.
Because it's mine. Not like a motor or anything, just all that time I spent in it, the work we all did together. That boat.
Well, you better get dressed then.
It's easier than I thought. Thank you.